لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله 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 لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وإذ قال عيسى بن مريم يا بني إسرائيل إني رسول الله إليكم مصدقا لما بين يدي من التوراة ومبشرا برسول يأتي من بعد اسمه أحمد فلما جاء من بعد اسمه أحمد فلما جاءهم بالبينات قالوا هذا سحر مبين ومن أظلم ممن افترى على الله الكذب وهو يدعى إلى الإسلام والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين يريدون ليطفئوا نور الله بأفواههم والله متم نوره ولو كره الكافرون هو الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. صدق الله العظيم.
جزاكم الله خير الجزاء.
Meaning, in the name of Allah,
Okay.
the gracious, the merciful. And remember when Jesus, son of Mary, said, O children of Israel, surely I am Allah's messenger unto you, fulfilling that which is before me of the Torah, and giving glad tidings of a messenger who will come after me. His name will be Ahmad. And when he came to them with clear proofs, they said, "This is clear enchantment." But who could do greater wrong than one who forges the lie against Allah while he is called to Islam? Allah guides not the wrongdoing people. They desire to extinguish the light of Allah with the breath of their mouth, but Allah will perfect his light even if the disbelievers hate it. He it is who has sent his messenger with the guidance and religion of truth, that he may cause it to prevail over all religions, even if those who associate partners with God hate it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khairan jaza. Brother Abdul Rashid Betuku. The next item on the agenda is chanting of Qasida by Muallim Nafiu Abdul Salam. Missioner sir.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وبارك وسلم إنك حميد مجيد. صل على محمد، صل على محمد، اللهم يا ربي صل على محمد. يا ربي صل على نبيك دائما في هذه دنيا وباث ثاني. يا للفتى ما حسنه وجماله، رياه يسبي القلب كالريحان. وجه المؤمن ظاهر في وجهه، وشؤونه لمعت بهذا الشان. فلذا يحب ويستحق جماله، شغفا به من زمرة الأخدان. شجوع كريم باذل خل التقى، حرك وفاء كطوائف الفتيان. فاق الورى بكماله وجماله وجلاله وجنانه ريان. لا شك أن محمدا خير الورى، لا شك أن محمدا خير الورى. ريك الكرام ونخبة الآيان. تمت عليه صفات كل مزية، ختمت به نماك كل زمان. والله إن محمدا كردافة، وبه الوصول بسدة السلطان. هو فخر كل مطهر ومقدس، وبه يباهي الأسكر الروحاني. هو خير كل مقرب متقدم، والفضل بالخيرات لا بزمان. والطل قد يبدو أمام الوابل، فالطل طل ليس كالتهتان. يا ربي صل على نبيك دائما في هذه دنيا وبعث ثاني صل على محمد صل على محمد اللهم يا ربي صل على وزيد زاداتي نبي محمد إتما Olúwa mi o jọ̀wọ́ túbọ̀ máa rọ̀jò ìkẹ́ rẹ fún òjíṣẹ́ ńlá òjò ìkẹ́ àrọ̀túnrọ̀ nílé ayé níhìn àti ní ayé tó ń bọ̀ pẹ̀lú. àràmàǹdà irú ọ̀dọ́ wo rèé ó rẹwà jọjọ ó ṣojú lọ́yìn púpọ̀ títa sánsán rẹ̀ múni lọ́kàn ju òdòdó olóòórùn lọ. ojú olúwa ọba alámòjútó hàn ní ojú rẹ̀ yòó gbogbo àṣeyọrí rẹ̀ náà sì ń ṣe àfihàn ìtànsán ògo ńlá náà. èyí mú kí a fẹ́ràn rẹ̀ àní ìjẹ́ ọmọlúàbí rẹ̀ ń dáni lọ́rùn tó bẹ́ẹ̀ gẹ́ tí ó fi jẹ́ pé a ní láti fẹ́ràn rẹ̀ tayọ ohun gbogbo tí a ní ìfẹ́ sí lọ. ọlọ́kàn tútù alápọ̀nlé ọlọ́kàn gbígbòòrò ọ̀rẹ́ àwọn olùbẹ̀rù Allah ẹni tó lawọ́ òun tayọ gbogbo ẹ̀dá pátá yányán nínú àkótán ojúlówó wa. àní ó tayọ gbogbo ènìyàn nínú àṣepé ìṣe àti títóbi pẹ̀lú. bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni nínú ògo àti àkótán ìwà ti ẹ̀mí tí kò lábàwọ́n. dájú ṣáká Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam nìkan ṣoṣo ni a dá tán nínú gbogbo ẹ̀dá olórí àwọn àyànfẹ́ tí kò jẹ́ kí ẹwà àwọn ààyò Ọlọ́run sáni. gbogbo oríkì tí a fi kí ẹni re ló ní àṣepé lára rẹ̀. gbogbo ayọ̀ ohun ìtura ayé gbogbo ni ó ṣe rẹ́gí ní ara rẹ̀. mo fi Allah ṣe ẹ̀rí pé Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ni àrólé àtọ̀run wá ní tòótọ́. nípa rẹ̀ nìkan ni a fi lè tọ́ ọ̀nà tààrà dé ọ̀dọ̀ Ọlọ́run. òun ni ẹni àmúyangàn fún àwọn olódodo àti ẹni mímọ́ gbogbo, ẹni àmú ṣe fọ́rífọ́rí fún àwọn ẹgbàágbèje oníwà bí Ọlọ́run. òun ló dára jùlọ nínú gbogbo àwọn tó jogún ìsúnmọ́ Ọlọ́run. àjùlọ yìí kìí ṣe nítorí bí ìgbà ṣe rí bí kò ṣe nípa àṣeyọrí iṣẹ́ rẹ̀. ìrì ti sẹ̀ ṣáájú òjò ńlá, ìrì ni ìrì yóò máa jẹ́, kò lè dàbí òjò tó ń rọ àrọ̀túnrọ̀. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Jazakallah khairan jaza. The next item is opening dua. In our silent prayers, let us remember Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat Nigeria in our prayers. Let's remember Huzur in our prayers, and let's remember each and every one of us. May Allah continue to increase us in faith, and may Allah grant us the ability to be patient and ability to have love, to love each other, to enable us move the Jamaat forward. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Amen. The next item on the agenda is the Majlis pledge, which is going to be led by our Sadar Sir. Please, let's stand up.
I bear witness that there is no worthy of worship except Allah, who is one, who has no partner. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his servant and messenger. I solemnly pledge that I shall endeavor throughout my life for the propagation and consolidation of Islam Ahmadiyya and for upholding the throne of Khilafah. I shall also be prepared to offer the greatest sacrifice this cause. Moreover, I shall exhort my children to always remain dedicated and devoted to Khilafah. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Please, let's sit down. The next item on the agenda is the Sadar Saab's opening address. So, Sadar Saab.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna sayyidina Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Amma ba'd, fa'uz billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nasalli ala rasulil karim. The respected Amir Alhaji Barrister Alatoye Fọlọ́runṣọ́ Abdulaziz, respected Naiba Amir Finance and Admin Alhaji Mufaddil Bankole Sahi, respected National Majlis Amila member present, respected Majlis Ansarullah MUK members present, respected officers of Majlis Ansarullah Nigeria, the Nasimi distinguished guests. Once again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All praise, glorifications, and adoration are due to Allah for His grace and mercies on us. We also express exclusive gratitude to Him for sparing our lives till this moment. Alhamdulillah Kasira. On behalf of Majlis Ansarullah Ahmadiyya Nigeria, I heartily welcome you all to the 6th Officer Retreat 2022. The committee, saddled with this assignment in their usual way, had worked tooth and nail to ensure well-packaged programs this year. Also, this very challenging theme, that is growing the Jamaat, the role of Ansarullah. This is to ensure that both old and new officers are duly oriented to enable them discharge their responsibilities as expected of them. I therefore passionately appeal to all our officers to avail themselves of this opportunity and derive maximum benefits from this program. We should all be attentive and follow all proceedings with rapt attention. This will no doubt enhance our performances in the discharge of our responsibilities at our respective areas or sections of operations. Without gainsaying, it is the officers' reported activities that are collated at the MOOC and sent to Morcas. It is the quality of our reports gathered from your activities and had made the Nigerian Majlis Ansarullah to occupy an enviable position among other Majalis internationally. This is an image booster for the Majlis in particular and the Nigerian Jamaat in general. This should therefore be sustained and even improved upon. I therefore appeal to our officers to regard preparation and submission of reports as being very sacrosanct. You should always present your reports every month. If officers work without reporting, it is just like a clock without hands. Let me assure you that the facilitators are well ready, very enthusiastic, and optimistic to give you scholastically prepared lectures. Let me, by way of emphasis, reiterate on the fact that the roles of Majlis Ansarullah in the Jamaat's progress and development is very enormous and highly demanding. Occupying or holding this strategic position, we are therefore expected to be of high integrity, diligent at home and Jamaat, trustworthy and truthful in words and deeds. We should not be found wanting in the knowledge of Quran, jurisprudence, with a performance of salat. Above all, members of Ansarullah must be reliable and ready to defend the institution of Khilafah as enumerated in the Majlis Dastru Asasi, that is our constitution. At this juncture, I want to heartily welcome the newly graduated MOOC officers from Majlis Kudam into the fold of Majlis Ansarullah. Let me prepare your minds to the reality that you will be challenged by old members. It's not a threat. We are just encouraging you. In terms of Talim al-Quran, and more importantly, by the dedications and devotions of your senior Sabdo members. It is my hope and prayer that the baby Ansarullah will not let the Majlis down after having climbed to the highest position of Majlis Kudam ladder before graduating. Before I finished once again, the heartily welcome, I want to seek indulgence of the Amir side to allow me present the Dastru Asasi for the newly Ansarullah members.
Please go ahead, sir.
All right. In this regard, I want to request, as they were sitting, right from the Koid Umumi, they should stand up for recognition to start with. So everybody, so I mean, they are about 24, if I'm correct, but a few of them were able to attend this retreat program. So on this note, I want to request them they should come while I present them the that's what I said.
Barakallahu lakum. Barakallahu lakum. Barakallahu lakum.
Finally, sir, may Allah make the program highly beneficial to us all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khairan jaza to our respected Sadar, Majlis Ansarullah, Nigeria. Jazakallah khairan. Okay, the next item is the keynote address, which I'm going to give very briefly before we go into the lectures. Okay. Bismillah al-barakatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa adahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna sayyidana Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Amma ba'd. Fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-rahmanir rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. The respected Sadar, Majlis Ansarullah, Nigeria, the respected Naib Amir, Finance and Admin, permit me to stand by the protocol which was established by the Sadar Majlis Ansarullah Nigeria in details. So I will say to all the Nasir that Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Let me once again welcome us to the 6th Officers Retreat of the Majlis Ansarullah Nigeria. Beyond the fancies of the theories, I want us to take certain key points as things that we need to watch. There are 2 lectures for this program, and the first one is growing the Jamaat, the role of Ansarullah. That is a very voluminous task for us, and I believe the person that has been given this subject, he knows the Jamaat from the grassroots to the top, being president, circuit president, everybody is a JASA officer now, Naib Amir, Finance and Admin. So I don't know which Nizam or Jamaat somebody want to hide for him. So I think he will be able to tell us really how to grow the Jamaat from the local Jamaat level down to the national level. And I think by his role now, he's involved in a lot of international matters. He has acted as the Amir before, as the acting Amir. So he communicated with the Americas, so he knows what Americas wants. Now, but beyond, this recognition of each and everyone's skill. The question really is, how can we grow the Jamaat? And two verses of the Holy Quran came to my mind with utmost respect to the additions that we will be hearing from him. One from the Holy Quran is our reference to the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Almighty described him in the Holy Quran as innaka la'ala khuluqin azim, that you are the person who knows how to behave best. So what that means is that behavior is very fundamental for us to be able to assemble people with us. In some of the narrations, we heard it that Rufi Atili Aklam wa Jafati Suhuf, whatever is sealed. That has to do with the law of nature. So if the law of Almighty Allah is that goodness will attract goodness, it will not be possible that evil will attract goodness. And in another narration, it was said, Afuul mulk, ibkoal mulk. Afuul mulk means the forbearance of a leader actually attracts a lot of people to the territory of that leader. So if you don't have forbearance, then it is going to be very difficult to assemble people. People might say, oh, he just tolerates, a lot of people. Almighty Allah also said it of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, if you have been very tough of them, a lot of them will have run away. Today, can we say that we are very tolerant? With utmost respect, this morning I have had issues with with disputes on phone, when people call. Not only today, and some other days they will call. And it has to do also with having issues with our members, that are members of Majlis and Sarula. And in most cases, they will believe they are right. One of them I will call our Sada when we finish with this program, and I will draw his attention to it in that time. So it's possible the Ansarullah team there will have to go and call them. That because I do believe two organs within the Jamaat are very strategic to the growth of Jamaat in Nigeria, and they are Ansarullah and the missionaries. The members of Majlis Ansarullah and the missionaries. These two units of the Nizam, they are not things you can toy with. Incidentally, the two people that called for various disputes this morning, they were all members of Ansarullah, none from the Udam and none from the Lajna. Because Ansarullah is the father of Lajna and the father of Udam, isn't it? If we say keep quiet there, he will be afraid and he will keep quiet. So the Udam will not talk again. So usually, but it is members of Ansarullah that need to emulate, we need to emulate the practical teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam for us to enable us to move, the Jamaat forward. So the second aspect of the Holy Quran is the prayer, which is Rabbana hablana min azwajina wa zurriyatina qurrata ayunin waj'alna lil muttaqina imama. And this means that we are praying, always that may Allah make us and our offspring and our family, an excellent example for people. So are we really working towards that? Let me tell us that the youth of nowadays, it doesn't really matter the whole social media or stories that you tell. What they want to see is exactly what you have done. So if you have raised up your hand to beat their mom, they can pray with you for the next 30 years before they gain independence. But they will believe that this is not the Jamaat I will belong. We must know that. I am not too sure I have been persuaded a lot by talk,
No. I can't remember. Yes, I can learn lesson from talk. But what I always like to pick is the action. Even some of us in signing the bayat, we resigned the bayat apart from the fact that we were there. Because at a point in time, you start contemplating which one is right, truly. Is it where I am, or is it another Jamaat? It was true practical demonstration of Ahmadiyyat being the true Islam that some of us signed the bayat. When public lecture was arranged, and this was led by Alhaji S.D. Ahmad in 1981. And the non-Ahmadi, who claim to have authority to Arabic, to Islam, and to everything, they absconded. They couldn't come, to come and face Ahmadiyyat that day. And there is a verse in the Holy Quran that some of us have a little elementary knowledge, of the meaning of the Holy Quran. That wakulija alehako was zahako lebatilu in lebatil kana zauko. That was the reason why some of us signed the bayat. Not that somebody come and start reading the Quran or start. No. So if a father in his house, you are maltreating the mother of another person, you are thinking it's your son, or you are thinking it's your daughter. And that is why today we don't find a lot of children within the Jamaat. They will rather pretend as if they are with you, but they will tell you they are busy with their work. But you will see some children, probably, who haven't had any issue between the mother and the father, of course, and between the father and his siblings, and between the father and all his people. They will be very regular within the Jamaat. It's automatic. There may be some few exceptions, but they have seen a very good example with their father. How we respect their mother, and notwithstanding, there will not be an area or a family where there will not be an issue. There were issues between the wives of the Prophet and the Prophet himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we know how he handled them. It's not by beating. We still find the elderly people beaten at this age, and then also using foul languages. Those languages will be held by some people that if this is what your Jamaat teaches you, I would rather remain Libra. These are the children of nowadays. They are Libra. They don't believe that, look, what you are saying is what we just need to take, but we rather will look at your action. So I would humbly recommend to us as members of the Majlis Ansarullah to check these two verses of the Holy Quran very well. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a perfect example, and we try to emulate. It is not when somebody displays an anger in an animalistic way that will show that he is actually powerful. No. And I think there are a number of additions to that. It's when we calm down at the face of opposition and challenges that we can say, okay, this is a real human being who has emotional maturity and also has emotional stability. And there is no stupid person if you know your ways around in life. So, but the thing is, we need to focus on our behavior in being able to retain, people within the Jamaat. The second one I want to talk is about the nizam, of the Jamaat and the structure of the Jamaat. Ansarullah also need to understand it very well, and missionaries also need to understand it very well. And so that's when we can carry the Majlis Hudam and then the Lajna along. And what do I mean by that? In some Jamaat, you find out that some people will only focus on the auxiliary activities. And say, oh, so once we are fine with our Nazimin, once we are fine with the contribution to, Ansarullah, and then that's fine. So if you do that by a step, Hudam will do that 10 steps. Because in some circuit, they've called me. Some of the Hudam in the state, they were telling the circuit president that, look, we report to our Qaid. Where we don't report or we don't have things to do. It's what our Qaid tell us we should do, we will do. That's their own understanding. So, and also in their local Jamaat, it seems their understanding is that Udam is different, Ansarullah is different, Missionary is different, and Lajina is different, you know. So what is then called the Jamaats? That is lack of understanding. So there must be a perfect understanding by Nasir to be able to explain to them that, look, that is not the correct position. So we should tell them that, look, we have to operate as a team. And that is when people can see good example, you know, with us. Another thing that we will be talking about later is duties and responsibilities of officers, which, just as Sada Saab did mention, is another person who has experience, not theory. The two people that are talking today, if they don't bring paper, they will talk. Because he has also been the General Secretary of the Jamaat, who has been in charge of the Tariq Jadid of the Jamaat, and then that's through Lasasi. So he knows what is in those rules, and he should be able to, not in theory. Theory is different from practice, even though theory emanates from practice, and practices are emanating from theory. So he understands that, and I believe the experience is going to be very, very helpful to us. Lastly, before I round up, two things are very important for us if we really want to, you know, grow the Jamaat. And the first one is obedience. Because without obedience, we cannot uphold even the Nizam. It's not going to be. That's obedience to the president, obedience to the executive in their various roles. And we need to realize that for them. It is very important. And the second one is respect. We have to respect ourselves. Some people, some Nasir, with utmost respect, do not respect their president of the Jamaat or respect an officer of the Jamaat on account of age. Probably on account of age, on account of seniority, even not age. Seniority that I signed the bayat before you. You are in school before I signed the bayat. So the fact that you are appointed as the president, we know who is the president of this mosque. You know, it has happened that a president of the Jamaat in this Lagos, somebody who is like a father of the mosque, automatically the president respects him, the vice president respects him, and so, but the thing is, they can't take a decision other than his own decision, and that will not be right. He must also be able to give, to let the young grow. So if you are not even the president, you are not anything. You are just the father of the Jamaat, and yet, you know, whatever you want to be done is what must be done. Not that the president will have to decide anything. So that is lack of respect to the Nizam. Because the president of a Jamaat is the Amir of that Jamaat. What president means is Amir. So he's Amir of local Jamaat, Amir, regional Amir, the deputy Amir. So an Amir means a commander. So you can't appoint somebody as the president with an executive power and then you render him redundant. Out of obedience, he will just relax. He will be looking at you. Whereas that will not be the appropriate Nizam of Jamaat. So irrespective of our role, we should respect ourselves, respect the system of the Jamaat, and if we do that, inshallah al-Aziz, I believe it shall be well with us. I take all opportunities to remind us and then also answer questions on our Minaret International University. Some people called me to say, Amir, this time there is no money, you know, why are we venturing into university? It seems some people still do not understand why at this point we are going into university projects. And I will not, you know, be tired to explain and re-explain in different formats. It is true, we have about 198 universities or thereabout in Nigeria. But all these universities that we have in Nigeria, what is the impact that it is making in the society? The thing is that people go to university to collect certificates, isn't it? And after the certificate, they are looking for work. And we honestly think that is not what university is. university is where somebody comes out and he must be able to add value to the society. And that is what is being done in the advanced environment, like the US. If you look at out of 1,000 best universities in the world, you find about 500 in the US alone. And that's why they are leading. Because they will research into what needs to be done, and that is what will be done. So that is what we want to do. We want to draw the attention of both the government, federal, state, and private, to how really to run the university. We've done it before. When there was no school, the Jamaat started school. And we are not starting it because of money. It got to a point when the Jamaat has so many schools. We have Ahmadiyya school in almost all jurisdictions we have. And when the government said, okay, we want to take over the school, the Jamaat will take all the schools, because we are not running them for money. It is for the benefit of humanity. So it is the same thing that we want to start a unique university that they will see. We have to pay attention to security, where the issue of secret cults should be a no-no. And it will not be that somebody will be suffering in our university in silence, just as they are suffering even in secondary school now. So this is the example we want to lay, so that all those 198 universities and polytechnics, they can come back to realize that this is the way polytechnics and universities must be run. So, as I said, people have been paying now, because every day people are seeing the benefit and reason why they should pay. I would also add to my comment that not only we are convinced, we also convince other people to pay as quickly as possible before the university starts. Because once the university starts, we will still pay Sadaka, but I don't think the reward will be as high as those who try to support it when the university is being put into place. So I welcome each and every one of us, and I pray that this retreat is a source of blessing for each and every one of us. May Almighty Allah continue to elevate each and every one of us. May Almighty Allah continue to bless each and every one of us. And I wish us a very successful retreat. And anytime we will be going back, I pray that Almighty Allah protect us very safely to our various destinations. Amen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu.
Yeah, this one. No, my officer. Okay, no problem. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So let's go to the next item, which is the first paper presentation, and that is going to be anchored by the facilitator. The topic is growing the Jamaat, the role of Ansarullah. And the facilitator is Alaj Mufadil Bankoli Saab, the Naib Amir Finance and Admin. Navasab. Bismillah. Sorry, you have 1 hour for the paper, so you are stopping by 12:16. 1 hour.
Yes.
All right.
That is if I will spend 30 minutes.
All right.
Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Amma ba'd, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-rahmanir rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amen. Amin sir. Sada Majlis Ansarullah, all Amila members present, all other members of MOOC members of Majlis Ansar Ahmadiyya Nigeria, distinguished guests. I say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
When Prince, we call him Prince, when he called me that I'm going to speak here, I said, what, on what? He said, look at your mail, look at your WhatsApp, you sent something there. I said, no, I didn't say anything. This happened December 31st, January 1 or thereabout. We started arguing among ourselves. I said, no. He said that you sent my name to Zoo, who has approved it. I said, how can you send my name to overseas without my knowledge? So are you trying to intimidate me? He said, no, I should find out from Sada Sab. He also called a former GS, that you speak with me, that I don't want to, take up this assignment. Okay, so at that point, I just decided that, look, even if I'm just passing by and they called me into program, that it's even good that you are around. Please, can you talk to us on this item, on this subject? Won't I be able to say something? That's why I decided, okay, let me just put few words, in paper. I know, the way they put it here, I am the facilitator, I'm not the lecturer. I am not to lecture you. This topic is something that we all have to deliberate upon. Mine is just to put something forward upon which we are going to discuss. And that is why, I said, maybe I will spend less than 30 minutes. Because the bulk of the job has been done by Mr. He has done justice to this topic. So we rest assured that you will not lose anything at all, and don't be disappointed at the end of my own speech here. There's another thing that I've always been telling my people here. Now look, when you are going to give topic to people to talk about, look for people that really understand Quran and Hadith very well. You don't call people like me that did not go to Lekeu. You see, when Amir came up here now, you can imagine, he has quoted some verses of Holy Quran, Hadith, and with ease. So a person like me will have to, think deeply before I can remember that this I will quote. Or if I have to make a phone calls, to a missionary, please, can you bail me out? So, all I'm trying to say is, one, to put life into this discussion. Let us not see it as a lecture, that we want to deliver a lecture. Let us see it as what we stand to gain by this topic. I know some of you must have read what I wrote down. I will read through, and while I'm reading, I think I will make some comments. So let me start in this manner. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. One of the lessons we want to learn from this lecture is this one now. There should not be any interruption. Assalamu alaikum. You see, one of those things that we need to learn as Ansarullah, which we have refused to learn, is etiquette of meetings. And I used to say it, I also said it here, excuse me. There is nothing we want to discuss here today that we have not discussed before. I doubt very much if there's anything we are going to talk about today that we have not discussed before. All we are just doing is just to remind ourselves. Etiquette of meeting. Have we not, been taught? How can the meeting be going on and then there will be, interruptions? Anyway, let me go through these few things that I put here. In our Jamaat, any man from the age of 40 years and above is regarded as an Ansar. And Ansarullah is the person that is called the because of Allah. Because I said we are discussing among ourselves here. If you disagree, let me know. It is expected that a child that grows to reach the age of 40 years is well matured and can be held accountable for what he does, as he cannot claim ignorance of the consequences of his actions. And that is why they say a fool at 40 is a fool forever. If you don't agree with me, please raise up your hand, let's discuss it. Therefore, being an Ansarullah means that you know what is expected of you as an elderly person. Is that not correct? You know. To ask somebody to tell us the role of Ansarullah in going to Jamaat could just be a reminder of what we already knew in case we have forgotten. And that's the one that means referring to that I quoted the Quran verse here. You know this one is very common. But actually, if I don't see that, that's what the meaning. When we were, in Kewu at the age of 6, 7, we always we even use it as a song. That's actually why not take so that is how I come to
you are revealing yourself now. You are revealing yourself.
That is how I came to know that. So I'm not a scholar. Right. So we are here just to remind ourselves of the things that we've been taught, over and over again. Like I used to say, each time I have the opportunity to address us in the Jamaat, that there's no new thing we are going to talk about which we have not heard before, either during Itima, workshop, or Jasa Sanala. If there's anybody among us that says he does not know his role as an Ansarullah in growing the Jamaat, then that person does not know his role as a father. Is that not correct? Yeah, people could not answer. You will, even if you doubt that, as we go on, you will understand now. Because I have to go through, our Yoruba proverbs. I will give 3 Yoruba proverbs that answers this question here. Àgbà ò sí nílùú ìlú bàjẹ́, baálé ilé kú ilé dahoro. Is that not correct? Do we all understand the full meaning of this proverb? Àgbà ò sí nílùú ìlú bàjẹ́, baálé ilé kú ilé dahoro. Let me continue. We will elaborate on the meaning as we go along. Àgbà kí wà lọ́jà, kó rí ọmọ tuntun wọ́. Is that not correct? Tó rí ọmọ tuntun bá wọ́ kọ́, ó di àgbà òṣìkà. Do we understand the full meaning of that proverb? Somehow. Okay. I think I will give the full meaning. Maybe because of the newly graduated Ansarullah, the 1 month old Ansarullah that are there. The third one is this. Bọ́mọdé méjì bá ń gégi nínú igbó, àwọn àgbà lóhun tó máa wó sí. We still don't understand that too. How can an Ansarullah who has passed through Majlis Sudan programs for many years claim ignorance of Jamaat Nizam or Nizami Jamaat? You know how many years you have spent in Majlis Sudan before graduating to Ansarullah? And what do we, when we say you are an Ansarullah, we are referring to you as a father. Who is a father? A father, you are called a father because of your experience of life. You are called a Sada, an Ansarullah, because of your experience of the Jamaat. You grew up from Atfa, Majlis Sudan, and now got to the level of Ansarullah. You must have come across so many things before you became an Ansarullah. So when we talk of experience, we expect that you must have experience as a member of this Jamaat, and that is why you are called Ansarullah. Anyway, for the purpose of this program, let us ask ourselves, how do we grow the Jamaat? To answer this, we need to look at the objectives of the Jamaat, which invariably is the objectives of Islam. Please, listen to me attentively. We need to look at the objectives of the Jamaat, which invariably is the objectives of Islam. This will naturally take us to the purpose of our being. Let me go on. I mean, we say I quoted another. This one too is very common. Wa mo alakin jinu walinsan ilal abudun. That one too is very common. So people like me should be able to quote that. You know. So if God has created us just for the purpose of worshiping Him, which ultimately is the objective of the Jamaat, then there's very little that we are going to talk about. The Jamaat was established to help humanity to achieve the purpose of man on earth. Look, don't forget, we are looking at growing the Jamaat, the role of Ansarullah. And that is what is taking us to the objective of the Jamaat itself. And for us to be able to grow the Jamaat, why do we want to grow the Jamaat? To achieve what? And that's what took us to the purpose, of our being on earth. So to achieve this, the Jamaat designed a system of administration and in part breaks into auxiliary bodies. Nasrat Ahmadiyya, Atfaq Ahmadiyya, Qudam Ahmadiyya, Lajna Imaila, and Ansarullah. The Jamaat is the bigger size of a home, which is mostly headed by the father, who is Ansarullah. We know we have some of Majlis Sudan too that are father, and they are already graduating to Ansarullah. It is the responsibility of the father, who is Ansarullah, to give the children the best moral values. The absence of a father in a home will make the children to become loose, and that is where the first proverb comes in. How can a father, the head of a family, you are there and your children will go out and behave in such a way, in such a manner that the question they will ask him is, who is his father? From which home did this boy or girl, come from? Who are the parents? Because they expect that if the father is there, the children will not misbehave. That is the expectation of a father. And like I said, the Jamaat here is, okay, maybe I will get there. So we need to give, okay, let me continue before I begin to analyze. Therefore, in growing the Jamaat, the responsibility of Ansarullah starts from home. Let me remind you of part of a poem. Yani Wura, Baba ni Digi, you must have heard that one before. Mother is gold, while father is mirror. The Ansarullah, who is the father, is the mirror for the children. He is the example they look up to. He is the benchmark they use as their reference. How well we as Ansarullah keep or obey the condition of Bayat from number 1 to 10 determines how the Jamaat progresses in growth. We cannot grow the Jamaat positively if we do not religiously obey the conditions of Bayat. For example, condition number 1, 2, and 3, which deals with abstinence from all forms of shirk, falsehood, adultery, steadfastness in our 5 daily prayers. And Ansarullah, a father, who keeps some objects in the corner of his house, trusting it as a protector. He does not see anything wrong in telling lies. He keeps some prayers as he likes. Just like Amir has said, Amir has done more than 50% of the work we want me to do. And Ansarullah that beats his wife. You know? So what example is he setting? Such Ansarullah is indirectly not helping to grow the Jamaat because the children that will become Qudam and Ansarullah in future will not see anything wrong in doing the same. In fact, they will see it as a way of life. I want to give example at this juncture. You see, the life we live, even if our children, if they don't talk, they watch it, they keep records of it, you know, and there will be a time, you know, when they will use it against you. In fact, you will even be challenged. I thank God that I am able, or I was able, to keep my faith in Allah. I have a child, a daughter, who says, "Daddy, I'm sorry, I'm not an Ahmadi." We were in Haram when she sent that message to me. And was advising me to pray fervently there so that God can show me the light. And I passed it to my friend, who is also here. We sat side by side. I said, "Amen, take a seal." We began to pray seriously on this girl that she wants me to pray to Allah to show me the light, and I was praying to Allah to show her the light. So each time she comes to Nigeria here, we bring up the topic. I will invite some elders of the Jamaat, some missionaries. We will talk and talk and talk and talk. One good thing is that she's fair in Islam. Let me not use the word very good, because she knows something about Islam. After the missionary will have talked to her, MFC2 and co, and they leave, I will now ask her, Toiba, tell me, there must be something I am doing that make you not to believe that Islam Ahmadiyya is the right way. Can you tell me? It is you and I now. Tell me so that I can correct myself. He said, Daddy, wallahi, nothing at all. Have I taken you to any babalawo before? Have I given you any concoction from anybody? I will ask all sorts of questions. Look at this, our house. This is where you were born. Have you ever seen anything, hanged in the corner of the bed or the house or anywhere or in your room? Have you ever? He said, Daddy, not at all. Not at all. Then why are you still believing, that I'm an idol worshiper? Because what you are quoting now is that, if your father says you should follow him to any other thing other than Islam, then you should refuse him. Well, that's an interpretation of what you are saying. You see, I brought this as an example because if, for instance, as she grows up, I have taken her to one Baba in Ilaru or in Nota or in Ibadan to do one thing or the other, this will have been the point my daughter will be standing upon, that page is not complete. So each time I remember, I always thank God. I thank God that, look, right from my childhood, I have developed faith in Allah alone. I have developed faith in Allah alone. So it is very important, like I said here, Ansarullah, we are supposed to be good example for others. It's quite unfortunate that all those ugly things that are happening, if not 90%, that you find Ansarullah there. Are we going to say that person is not knowledgeable enough? Are we going to say that person, something happened of very, very recently. They came to Iju for a meeting, Agegedila, I'm right, Nazim? Right. And invited me for a chat. And had the opportunity of talking to them there. While I was discussing with them, somebody walked in. I looked at him from top to his feet. I shook my head. This one too is calling himself Ansarullah. Because I knew what he did. And he's going to face the consequence. There's no doubt about it. I have invited him to my house. I have talked to him personally that the path you are towing is destructive. Withdraw before it is late. He denied, said nothing like that is happening. Nothing like that is happening. It's okay. Missionary, please, can you talk to this boy? The missionary invited him and talked to him. The next thing he did was to organize a meeting, a private meeting within their family, and now reported the senior brother that is the one that is taking his matter, family matter, into the Jamaat. They were not talking to him. He denied. I called the circuit missionary. I said, missionary, this is what is happening here. Just for your information, I'm still watching, I'm working on it. So you also take some steps on it. He took some steps and he called me. He said, and I said, he denied everything, that I should just leave him. Since he has denied, I should just leave him. And by my own lifestyle, by the time I will blow the trumpet beyond what he expects. So he has made life much easier for me to blow the trumpet. When I saw him, was it last Saturday you came for that program or the other one? So now tell me, what example is that person giving his own children? What example is he giving his children? So you see, what I said in this little, it's not a lecture, is for Ansarullah to see himself as a mirror of the Jamaat, an example of the Jamaat. How can Ansarullah, be found in adultery? An Ansarullah of this Jamaat. Do you need any lecture to tell you that it's wrong? An Ansarullah of this Jamaat to be fraudulent. I remember when I was the Circle President, an Ansarullah, a president for that matter, printed First Bank receipts, or teller, what do they call it, to cover up for the money he stole from the Jamaat. Is Ansarullah. He went to the extent of printing First Bank teller to cover up for his misdeeds. What example is he giving others? What example is he giving the Majid Sudan? What example is he giving, even the little kids? Because when we went to their Jamaat to address them, I didn't mince word at all. The message will get to the children. So because you see, when you are called an Ansarullah of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat Nigeria, I'm not even talking of officers now, that you are an Ansarullah. You grew up to become Ansar in this Jamaat. When we give you business to do, we should go and sleep. Your integrity should never be in doubt at all, at all. I'm not talking of just a father, but of an Ansar, of an Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat. Your integrity should not be in doubt at all, at all. Like I said, we are just here to remind ourselves of what we've been taught over and over and over again. We want to tell an Ansarullah that you should not come late to the meeting. An Ansarullah, you wait for somebody to tell you not to come late to a meeting. When I finished prayer in the mosque one morning, I just went to the chat and I saw the list they pasted there. Lagos State budget, names, the amount to be paid by each person, those that are paid, the amount they paid, the amount they are yet to pay. When I looked at it, I was just looking for my children's name there. And I saw my son, Aziz Bankole, so amount, nil, 0. Immediately I got home that morning, I sent one nasty message straight to him, and he replied back that, Daddy, I'm not aware, sir, that I'm not aware of that budget, sir, and I'm going to pay immediately now, I'm not aware. So within an hour or so, I called the secretary. I said, I saw so thing in the mosque this morning that my son has not paid. He said he has paid now, sir. He has paid. I said, wait. He said he's not aware. How come that he's not aware? How come that he's not aware? Please, it's not enough to just, pay and then you said you told everybody. You have to help these children, by always, calling them, sending personal text messages to them. And I gave an example at the meeting we had with Ansarullah. Majlis, I told the Jama president, I said, please, enough of this embarrassment. Yes, that's Alhaji Yusuf. I told him, I said, please, I don't want a situation where somebody will be calling me from Agege that I'm still owing Ansarullah Majlis, Shanda, for 2 months, for 3 months. Please, when the month ends, send me a text message. I told you that meeting. I said, that's where it should be. If it's something that you can easily forget, why not devise a way by which you will not forget? And that guy, the last day of the month, he will send me a text message, Alhaji, Shanda Majlis is due. As I'm reading it, I'm sending the money straight away. So nobody will call me. So if we really want to, perform as Sule and Namadi, and Ansarullah for that matter, you have to devise a means by which, all the conditions laid down by the Jamaat will be fulfilled. We are all human beings. Naturally, some things may skip our minds. But because you don't want to fail, let me. It was yesterday I paid my wasia. You know what happened? I said tomorrow I'm going to do Koro for a program. Is there anything I'm supposed to do that I've not done? And I remember wasia. I said, look at me. What's today's date? I'm supposed to have paid this thing yesterday or day before yesterday. Wow. And immediately, I paid. You see, we each one of us should ask ourselves, and that's my point. Each Ansar should ask himself, what role am I playing in this Jamaat? Is it a progressive role or retrogressive role? Am I helping the Jamaat or I'm not helping the Jamaat? If you are given a responsibility to perform, however difficult it is, please pray to Allah to help you to execute it. Pray to God to assist you to do it. And you'll be able to do it. All this lackadaisical attitude, of some of us is uncalled for. I'll also give an example. There is one of us in JPC, then very prominent officer of Jasa Planning Committee there. And somehow he became the circuit president. And what happened? A very close friend of his who knew what he does, which is totally against the Jamaat rules. In fact, it contradicts the first condition of Bayat, that is abstaining from shirk. He was deeply involved in shirk, deeply. Not that they just brought something, to him. He was deeply involved. He went for sacrifice. Anamadi, Ansarullah. It's the same thing. Rishwa and what do you call it now? Ebo. After all, there are some names you are going to recite when you get there. No, is it something that is thinkable at all? It's something that you cannot, you can't fathom it, that something like that could happen. That a member of this Jamaat that rose to the level and status of Ansarullah, got to the position of a circuit president, hold a position in JPC. Like I said, Jamaat is a bigger home. It's a bigger home. Whatever examples we give our children is what our children will follow. Something happened some years, many years back. There is a son of a very prominent king who he was involved in armed robbery cases. He's been doing it, and the people in the town knew him to be an armed robber. He got to a stage where they went to rob somewhere. They were caught. And he and others were sentenced to death by firing squad. You know what? They brought him to our town, Ilaro, to execute. I don't know whether you understand that message. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. He was brought to our own town where he grew up, where he was born, to face firing squad. Is that not instructive? So what are we talking about? As parents, as fathers, if you cannot teach your children, we will help you to teach them lessons. It was a big shame for the king, a big shame for the whole town. And that is the way we should look at the Jamaat. That if this and that happens, what would they say of the Jamaat? Like I gave an example of my daughter. Whatever I must have done, that is what she will be telling, her groups. That, Amadia, which faith are they talking about? My father is a prominent member, he used to do this and that. That's what will have happened. So we must always be conscious of what we do at home, within the Jamaat, our place of work. Because where you work, they cannot trust you. Your MD cannot, entrust, money in your hand. He cannot, give you an information that knows this information, is private. Keep it. And the next thing is that, somebody just phone you that the house was so. That's mistrust. Anyway, let me read the few lines that remains here. So, Majlis Ansarullah is an auxiliary body of the Jamaat, has its own administration headed by the Sada and assisted by other officers. The officers are saddled with different responsibilities, such as the secretary, the finance, the tabligh, the talim, the tarbiyah, etc. All these responsibilities are aimed at achieving one goal, tabligh, helping the humanity to serve Allah. All officers are expected to show good examples by their excellent conduct and performance in their respective offices. That's what we have been talking about. Money contributed or donated should be well kept, judiciously spent, and duly accounted for. This is what is expected of an Ansarullah. Accurate reports regularly, good record keeping, and so on and so forth. Well, let me summarize the discussion with the aims and objectives for Ansarullah as contained in Dartu Asasi as listed below. They've just given them their own copies now. Congratulations. So, I pray that you live up to it. A, to organize all the male Ahmadis above the age of 40 years in Sicilia Alia Ahmadiyya, to inculcate the following amongst its members. 1, the love of Allah, the spirit to promote and propagate the teachings of Islam, the urge to preach Islam and serve mankind, the spiritual and moral training of children, self-sacrifice, the spirit of protecting the institution of Khilafat, the spirit of placing collective interest above individual interest. C, it shall purely be a religious organization, leaving no political interest whatsoever. All these things are not new to us, and if they are new to you, let us know. That's why I said that we are just here to remind ourselves. Now let me now crown it with Uzur's sermon of Friday, September 38, 2016, on the responsibilities of Ansarullah. And I quote, at the age of an Ansar, a person becomes mature, and thus they themselves should be well aware of their responsibilities. Furthermore, they should concentrate and fulfill these responsibilities. Firstly, to have a mature age, and then secondly, the name of the group, Ansarullah, of the group of men who are above the age of 40 years, is itself enough to make a realization in them. I think you understand that. That you are an Ansarullah is enough for us to be able to, obey the condition of Bayat. The responsibilities that these men should fulfill have been summarized in the oath of Ansarullah, which we recite, in all our Ansarullah programs. We've done it this morning. Firstly, that every man included in this group of Ansarullah should try with his purest heart to make Islam stronger and be a faithful follower of Ahmadiyya. And in order to try to make Islam stronger cannot merely happen with one's strength and knowledge. Islam is the religion from Allah, and it is a complete religion of teachings. No individual can change the faith of teachings of Islam, but one has to reform themselves to form a bond with this faith. I want to repeat that. No individual can change the faith of teachings of Islam. The teachings of Islam has already been established, though. But one has to reform themselves to form a bond with this faith. And you cannot achieve this without establishing a strong relationship with Allah. With strong relation with Allah that every Ahmadi should strive for. The standard of the Ansar in their relationship with Allah and their faith should be the strongest. Let me quote again. The standard of the Ansar in their relationship with Allah and their faith should be the strongest. That's the end of that quotation. So in closing, you will see that what I have done is to paraphrase the lecture without going into details of the responsibilities of each officer for Ansarullah, because we are elders, and therefore we close it with these two proverbs. Don't be bored with a proverb. Like I started in the beginning that Agbakiwa Loja Kuro Motuntunwo. how can we have elders in the Jamaat? And, yes, how can we have elders in the Jamaat? And we are still experiencing all these kinds of things within the Jamaat. The question is, are there no Ansarullah there? What is their responsibility? What are they doing? So it is a big challenge, for us as Ansarullah to, ensure that our children are promptly, corrected. But when they say Agbakewa Loja Kuromo Tutunwo, when you see, a woman that backed her child, and she was going maybe in the market, and then the child that she backed, the head has turned this way. Naturally, in Yoruba land, with due respect to other tribes, her attention will be called to it. No, that's not the adjust the head. They will even assist her to adjust the head. So it is the responsibility of the father, the Ansarullah here, to quickly and promptly correct, any wrongdoing, either by a fellow Ansar, or by a member of Majlis Sudan, or by Lajna, or by Atfa or Nosra. It is our responsibility to quickly make that correction where it happens. If you keep quiet, like this Yoruba adage says, torí ọmọ tuntun bá ti wọ́ ó ti dàgbà òṣìkà nìyẹn. You are also a culprit if you allow that evil deeds, to be performed in your presence. I didn't say anything. 2, àbọ̀rọ̀ là ń sọ fọ́mọlúàbí tó bá dénú àdòdìdì. The ones that we've talked about here now, like I said, it's just like talking in parables, where we need to hit the point, we hit the point. Where we need to hit the nail in the head, we hit in the nail. But look, it is for every one of us here, after this workshop, to still go back and re-examine, reappraise yourself as a person. What is my role? What am I doing in this Jamaat? Am I fit to be called a member of this Jamaat? You should be able to answer that question yourself. Don't wait for anybody. You should be able to do your self-appraisal. Yoruba says, America cannot know what is happening in our homes. How many homes is he going to visit? The Sada may not be able to know what is happening in the homes. It is each and every one of us who know what we are doing, in our private life. Something you are doing and you don't want another person to know. You have already answered that. And, let me thank the Ansarullah Ahmadiyya Nigeria, headed by our Sada, by a big brother and friend, for giving me this opportunity again, to talk to ourselves. We are just talking to ourselves. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will bless you all and guide us aright. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. 30 minutes in Molo. Have you served 30 minutes?
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We thank the Naive and Minister of Finance and Admin for the inspiring lectures that he has given. He claimed not to have known how to contributions, questions, and general discussions on the presented paper. For the first person that has been invited by the Majlis to comment is the Secretary, the National Secretary for Tarbiya, and that's MMC. I think he will make his comments and then we'll take other comments and questions.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna sayyidana Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu wa ba'd. Fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. In fact, the topic given to the hidden scholar that calls himself facilitator is treated, in fact, the way I see it, that for anybody here today, maybe we lack of one thing or the other, we must have been preparing our mind to now become a thorough ansarullah. In his discussion, he mentioned that the troubles we've been having in the Jamaat, 90% he mentioned. He said 90% of it is from Ansarullah. So that shows that what is happening. When I was called to serve as National Tarbiya Secretary, what I met on ground was that we don't have Tarbiya. We don't have Tarbiya. So I then started to ponder, then are we a Muslim then? Because lack of Tarbiya is lack of Islam. So if this song continues, that means we will die non-Muslim. So I said we should fight it hard to make sure the song changes. That very soon, by the grace of Allah, we will be saying the other side of it, that we have got Tarbiya right. And our spiritual father, when he met us of recent, I mean last year, not recent again, at least this February last year, he told us that if we are able to set right the issue of Tarbiya, everything will follow, everything will just follow suit. Every department will not have problem again. I now think that where are we missing it? Then I could study with the little experience I have got in this office. In fact, Amir will bear witness that the terrain is rough, too rough. It's just too rough. Then how can we get it right? That's the question. We can't just continue deceiving ourselves. We don't get it right. Then there must be cause before you can straighten or correct yourselves from any wrongs. You just have to think and ponder where do you get it wrong. Then I could see, to my own view, where many of us get it wrong is a misplace of our priority. Misplace of our priority. We forget that we are not just ordinary person again when we are a Muslim on earth. We are not just ordinary person. And even our being a Muslim is even plus, Muslim plus, when you are a member of Ahmadiyya. So we are quite different. We should be distinct in everything. Then the question I want to ask us here is, which one is greater? Which one is greater? This present world, this present life, or earth, or heaven? Because we don't want to, we don't really respect heaven. We don't give it recognition, because heaven, nobody knows what is happening there. But we were told that heaven is greater, heaven is better for us. And even God told us in the Quran that when he saw our activities on earth, he said, Bal, tuthiruna al-hayata dunya, wal-akhiratu khairun wa abqa. Why are we pursuing this world just like that? Do or die affairs. Wal-akhiratu khairun wa abqa. What is seen in our activities is success of this world. Much success of this world. We don't really plan to succeed in heaven. And that was why we are saying that Father do not care what happens to his children, what happened to his wife. We don't really know that our assignment, our first assignment here is to win soul. You are not just allowed to marry. You are only allowed to marry to win that soul to God as a Muslim. And that was why we were given conditions to marry. You pray. You ask Allah for guidance. So when you do that, that's from that time, you've been commanded that that soul as a wife should not drop out Islamically. Then other issues come in, called children. It's another responsibility. It's another problem even on its own, because they should not go out of Islam. When they were going out of Islam, what do you, and we don't care, we don't see it as anything. And that was what have been in the thinking of those who arrange this retreat, so that we must know our responsibility and how we should carry it out. Our priority is heaven. Take it like that. Our priority is to achieve heaven. Why is that? The Quran has explained at length that this world is short. Being Ansarullah is just an opportunity for you to correct yourselves. It's not that you are living old, you are enjoying. What are you enjoying? Your enjoyment is waiting for you. That is what should have been in our mind. So whatever you are giving knowledge, you are giving money, you are giving children, you are giving wives, you should, it's a responsibility on you to use it to buy heaven. To buy heaven. Even it's even categorically quoted by Allah himself. He said, use my provision. He even mentioned money. Use my money to buy my Jannah. So it means all what we are doing is to buy heaven for ourselves. But if others have failed, our Holy Prophet Muhammad has not put us in darkness to see all this we are seeing. If we are seeing all what we are seeing around, but his promise that Allah will still show his mercy to us by sending another light of this day, that anybody who is involved in that light should be thankful to Allah. Now you are there. You are in this light. For your acceptance of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam is 50% for you. You just need to add more. All this, you should not be fetish, you should not do this, you should not do that. It's additional. To even accept that the Imam Mahdi is a, let me just use the messenger of Allah. Let me use is a light from Allah. Because that word messenger, people are misinterpreting it in various ways. That's what they want to know. But a light of Holy Prophet Muhammad in the later days, and you are involved, you say you accepted that light. So if you accept that light, it should be seeing you. It should be seeing your movement everywhere. Your working place, you should be distinct. You see, my friend that was just addressed us, you know, he was speaking confidently because of his last practice, because of his trust in himself, that he has no hidden agenda for his children. That is the position of, that's what Muslim we are saying, sound one, who can raise his head, who can beat his chest that I'm a Muslim, anywhere. So when I heard an Ahmadi Muslim is fetish, I do not believe. How can he be fetish? That is the first purpose of our becoming an Ahmadi. Where we are coming from, we see we have been even practicing it with them before, but because Ahmadi community said it's wrong, Islam does not require that, and we tested it, we find it is true. Then how can somebody who also find himself in the same community and then fetish again? What is he thinking? How did he come around to be an Ahmadi? No. To cut my story short, I just want to appeal that we have to reset our priority as an Ahmadi. Our priority is to work for heaven. No, that's our priority, to work for heaven, to be thinking of heaven. And the rest shall follow. The rest shall follow. You know, the teachings of prophets from the beginning is the same thing. If we are all thinking of heaven, we must know the requirements. And that requirement is the same everywhere. Anabi Isa alayhi salam said, O ye, seek the kingdom of heaven first. The kingdom of heaven first. Only then the rest shall follow. You see today, in the Jamaat, when we first entered into this Jamaat, they call us Solomodie. But today they cannot call us like that again. Those days we have only one car at Ibadan, and lorry of Alhaji Busari of blessed memory, one car. That lorry will carry us to Lagos here for Jassa. And bicycles will be parked just around the mosque, just like that. And few. Who has the money then, maybe rally white bicycle. But today, they will have various cars. What else do we want that God has not done for us? What else? What we are lacking, I used to tell my friends that we are lacking sincerity. We are not sincere. We are not just sincere of what we know. All these things is not hidden to us. The speaker has rightly said it. We are only reminding ourselves. We know it. Some are hiding under my family, thinking that he's been told, he's been admonished in the Quran that family affairs has its own boundary. When it comes to your faith, you don't joke with it. When it comes to your faith, then when you want to now marry your daughter to your fellow Ahmadi or whatever, you then push them to your family. My family, you know, they must have hand in it. All this hidden agenda because of your own insincerity. If you are sincere, you must know your ways you are pursuing. And nobody should tamper with that. They will not fight you. They will remain your friends forever because the principle of Islam has taught you right. the way you have to behave when you need to attend to them, when you need to attend to their problems, they will be looking for you. They will be looking for you. So now, I think I'm facing the selected or elected personnel as mulk. You are even now special to ordinary Ansarullah. You have been elected to lead. So what you are hearing today is what you are going to now execute. You have been elected as a supervisor to supervise various activities of the Jamaat so that people are aligning. So if you are seeing any wrongs in the headquarters, that means anybody who has qualified as an Ansarullah anywhere from those Jamaats are not working. Only that is the purpose of the Yoruba adages that our speaker has just collated together. So let us change that. That is the position we are. Agba wa ti wà lọ́jà, orí ọmọ sì wù ọmọ wa lọ́wọ́. Yes. Agba wa ti wà lọ́jà. We are looking, we are seeing it, and we are discussing it. Some are even laughing with it. Our children are doing Yahoo. Our children are supposed to have known that this Lord is temporary. I should look for a means of livelihood properly, and not the way the world are pursuing for it, are learning about it. Your children must know that. It's not a mistake. It shouldn't be a mistake for your children to even try it. But is discussion everywhere now? Because the fathers have set their priority to this world. So he kept quiet. He has seen his children now buying cars, without even finding where the type of business is doing. And he didn't say anything. So you have been elected, for God's sake, now to make this correction. Our targets now, through the instructions of Khalifa, with the assistance of our respected Amir, there are a team of Tarabiyah, 13 people. But as God will have it, the choice that I said we don't have, when Allah decided, one person among us who is qualified among us, who was even ready to fight it to the end, God just took him off. But you know, that is the sunnah of Allah. It has been like that. Because when he took the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallam, Holy Prophet was young, 63 was young age that time. So the work of Allah will continue. That's what it means. So with the other remaining 12, we are working. We will need your assistance to make sure you pass the messages that's coming out from this committee. We will need your assistance to first build yourself. Build yourself first. You have to think, because our Khalifa has just advised us that everybody should assess himself. You assess yourself. Where am I getting it wrong? If your wife has not been friendly, if he has not been understanding you Islamically, call a meeting. If your children are misunderstanding you, call a meeting. Our fourth Khalifa has advised one of our members that way. Let's call a meeting, apologize to your children, apologize to your wife. And Taba Mata, Amantani, Amambo. No, when you prostrate to them as a father, they will see that our father has come down. Then they can listen to you. So please, let us find solution to this problem of we don't have Tarbiyah. We want to change that slogan. We want to know that Ahmadiyya is distinct and we are special in everything. One Christian this morning, let me just read what he sent to round my address off. One Christian said, he posted to him, so when I saw it, I said, So this man, the Christian also has this orientation. Please.
Can you just give the gist of whatever it is so that we can save time?
Thank you, sir. What he said in a nutshell is that God is ready to listen to you. Is there to accept your request. Only you should observe his commandments. You should observe his commandments. Where we are missing it, where we are getting wrong, is that we are just behaving on our own. And that is why we are finding our affairs so difficult to maintain. If we give God first, definitely we will find ourselves in a very peaceful manner for every of our doings. And that was why we said, God, when you see the kingdom of heaven, the rest shall follow. Not that God does not, life does not belong to us. Allah said all provisions, including jets, including helicopter, whatever provision made on earth is for you Muslims. You can get it, but for lillahi wa rasulihi. May Allah assist us. May Allah help us as He helped the Holy Prophet Muhammad. May Allah help us as He helped Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. May Allah help us as He's helping our Khalifa. Because I used to wonder the type of life our Khalifa. In fact, I observed something maybe some other people does not know or didn't know. Yes, sir. The observation I made in our lifestyle of Khalifa, our Khalifa, when he's delivering a message, he will just stand like this. No action, no demonstration, nothing. But what is coming out is a bombshell. It's penetrating, it's inspiring. So for this, that shows the seriousness of our Khalifa. And God has made him an emblem for us to follow, so that our own affairs also will be as such peaceful as that of our Khalifa. So I thank the organizer and our father of fathers, Sadar and Sarula, for allowing me to come and speak on issues of Tarbiyah to the elders. We expect changes from the elders, and I'm sure very soon this change will show. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Tarbiyah is very fundamental to our Tabligh success and also to what we are seeing. The contributions, questions, and general discussions on the presented paper will be welcome. So if we have comments, please let us raise up our hands. Let everybody who wants to raise up their hand. Raise all your comments once, then the presenter takes it.
Number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I'm sure. Okay, number 9. 1 to 9.
9. Okay, number 9.
The Lord says that from our little experience in the Jamaat, the loss by heart is becoming more significant to gaining new by hearts. And the contributors literally is that the aspect of community relations, all the ethics reasoning needs to be emphasized in our Jamaat anytime we gather at the micro level. The reason is this: if we get to a Jamaat and see the interaction of our members, mostly Ansarullah, with the community, their actions, behaviors, characters, who does not encourage others to join the Jamaat, it does not make their children to be proud of their fathers. Secondly, the role of a comedy, broken home in the house, is common. Many fathers and mothers are together, but the hand is broken, the house is broken. So, fathers, I want to commend just the aspect of community relations, which I always refer to as silent tabligh, should be re-emphasized. In an area, in my own Jamaat, we have a member who's on seat here now. He's been a community, a CDA chairman, has converted some people who are not Muslim to Ahmadis. It has resolved some homes, and we are using it as examples. Even Christians come to contribute to our mosque building in the process because of his own role at that level. Please, we need to emphasize on community relations. The togetherness of our Jamaat is still, secondly and lastly, at the level of party, is stronger, and the spirit is stronger than when they meet as members of Jamaat. I have an example of somebody who they will never even come to mosque together or to program together, but when you come to parties, meetings, they will wear the same cloth, the same cap, and go there together as brothers. But with the boundary they have with themselves, they are enemies. So community relations, both within and outside Jamaat, it should be re-emphasized. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Respected Amin Sahab. Mine is a question, sir. Respected Amin Sahab emphasized a verse of the Holy Quran, Fabima Rahmatin Minallahi linta lahum. That is pulling people or community together towards oneself as a leader. Then, sir, how can we marry this with principle of sanctioning or suspension as we have it in Islam? Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Respected Nabil Amir Sahib, my question has to do with the narrative of your daughter sending a message to you that she was no longer interested in continuing with being an Ahmadi Muslim. And you started by saying that since you received the message, you started with prayers, and afterwards you went into probing into why that should be so. But I was waiting patiently to know where that will land to. Did she actually come back to the Jama'ah, or she, insisted and still continues to insist that she's no longer interested in, continuing with the Jama'ah? Assalamu alaikum. Number 6.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mine is an observation or maybe a comment. I'm not as scholastic or intelligent as our facilitator who claim to be non-knowledgeable. At any rate, I had the privilege of working on this booklet we are holding. Since 4 days ago, I had that privilege of working on it. And as a result, I have been able to read all the contents about at least 3 times. On Wednesday, while I was compiling it, I started discussing within myself, and I started putting something on paper. When I wrote, and I was on page 6. I could not end it, and I said time was going. So yesterday, I just summarized it. I said, I will present this at this forum. And I titled it Food for Thought. Before then, I contacted the secretary to the committee, Hashim Rahim. I said, what else do we what else do we want to add to this booklet? He said, anything I feel okay. Then I went to I added, if you see the last page, advice to friends from the second Halifa. Now, yesterday I now said, okay, let me write something. I gave Sada sir. I call it Food for Thought. Let me just read it and take my seat. I'll give you copies, inshallah. Growing the Jamaat, what it implies. The Jamaat will not only grow, but will continue to grow and rapidly too, if every one of us here and now can ask ourselves the following questions and provide suitable answers to them to the satisfaction of our individual conscience. 1. Question number 1. Since I joined this Jamaat, or since I was born into it, that is, if I'm a born Ahmadi, have I ever benefited or am I benefiting from being an active member of the Jamaat? 2, if my answer to the first question is yes, have I made or do I make members of my household realize, acknowledge, and appreciate this fact to the extent that they now love and are determined to join me and remaining actively steadfast in the Jamaat? 3, what have I done or what am I doing to benefit the Jamaat in return for or in appreciation of my having benefited from it? 4, if I have done or am doing something in this direction, are members of my household, wives or children, in my full support in the venture? Or is it always criticism from them that you are carrying the Jamaat too much on your head? Are you the Amir or are you the Khalifa? Thereby making me a one-man army of the Jamaat in my home. 5, if I have been in this Jamaat for over 10, 20 years, having been blessed with one or more wives and 3 to 5 children, how many of them can I confidently boast of as being active in the Jamaat now while I live, without my prompting them, and will continue to be active even if I'm no more? For if today, as the head of a, let's say, 5-member family, I am paying 10,000 naira as chanda, when I retire, I can no longer pay that much, and I do not have at least 3 members of my household paying at least triple of what I was paying, then am I not a failure? Or could it be said in that circumstance that the Jamaat is growing? We should remember that no success without good successor. This is the great challenge before every one of us members of the Ansarullah Silsilah Ahmadiyya Nigeria. So that is just my own observation. Although I don't know when I will be able to, or where I'll be able to present what I have written about this topic, because, and this morning I also had the opportunity of talking to 2 members who slept here, and alhamdulillah, I was able to say part of those things which I have written down. Let me just give Amsab and then I made copies of this thing.
Number 5.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. When Ahmadiyya started over 100 years ago, I don't know what our number was then. But it seems that when we had our centenary celebration and we look at those people who started the Jamaat, many of their children or their progeny are not in the Jamaat again. I also look at the going generation, Ansarullah, we are joining them now, Ansarullah. Many of our children too are not in the Jamaat. So that if perhaps we leave, we also say the same story, because I used to, when they wrote the story, they would say, oh, bad, they lay, you know, there's a lot of names at that time, and you don't see their generation in the Jamaat. And then if we are 10,000 and we have 4 children, we should be multiplying. There is a law in population growth, demography. There is a law of growth of the population. And that's why people will say that if you want your population to be constant, replace yourself with only 2 children, so that when you die and your wife, only 2 children will replace you. You maintain your population. But yeah, we have 4 children, 5 children, 3 children, and we are not still more than 60-something thousand since 100 years ago. Are we not having children? Our children not having children. And I want to ask, we are young, our children are still young. What are the mistakes we are making that is not making our children stay in the Jamaat? Can the elders sit down and look at it? Is it that our children are not listening to us, or we made some mistake that practically we can tell the young one, it seems we failed here. We will continue to pray for Allah to help us, but you should be careful so that you don't fail in that direction. I think I'm just asking myself, will my children also be Ahmadis? I'm beginning to ask myself now, will my children be as active as I am now? What can I do to make them active? There are things that will bother your mind when you see things that are happening. And I think that the younger ones, we need answer to it. Will the elders look at the scenario of the past years and be able to guide the younger ones that we think we failed in this direction, unknowingly or knowingly? We are working on it, but maybe you can safeguard those areas, and maybe we can be sure that even if we don't have converts, if you are having children that are Ahmadis, we should be growing very fast. 4 children, 5 children, no convert. Let us remain the way we are. And we have children who are also Ahmadis and active. We should be growing very fast, 100 years, 50 years. But if you are having convert, we are having children, and we are still this small, then we need to look at ourselves. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Jazakallah jaza for that very fundamental points and issue. We will need to deliberate on that. Number 4.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My own is questions, because I've had the facilitator delivering. But what is the way out? If I look at the lecture, it is as if I'm listening to sermon, one of the Friday sermon, which we have been listening to all the way. But my observation is this, sir. Because I'm not a born Ahmadi. I joined Ahmadi when I was old enough. But since I was there, the level I met Ahmadiyya at that time was that of Amir Agbola. So I want to suggest, because that thing continually happening to the born Ahmadi, those that were born trained Ahmadi, and even they pose as a shame to us that join the Ahmadi, because some of us, we are following the protocols, and this born Ahmadi, at times they turn around to mess us in our family. I'm talking from experience. So I want to suggest that the only way out, I'm sorry, I know it is happening, is that there should be discipline. There should be, when Ahmadiyya is very few, those people, the history we had was that when there are very few, they could be able to hold the Nizami Jamaat very strictly. The report and the discipline is affected. So therefore, as a result of that, the few ones that remain, they are there. Because when I want to get married, I'm married to Ahmadi. My father-in-law requested me to join Ahmadi, and I told him that I will join. And today, I'm happy. I have a happy home with my wife. But what is happening is that there should be discipline injected in the family, in the Jamaat. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Number 3.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Amir Sahib, sir, and the rest of the IT team, sir. I want to talk about the sincerity vis-a-vis the Nizami Jamaat. Sincerity vis-a-vis the Nizami Jamaat. In actual fact, we have been talking about sincerity and Nizami Jamaat for quite a long time. But most of our activities, particularly as the instruction goes from the headquarters down to the grassroots, it's been affected by insincerity a lot. I have two cogent examples which I want to cite this afternoon. The issue of Jasa Salana, when it was everybody knows that we have 10% of everybody's income payable annually, whether we hold Jasa Salana or we don't hold it. When we look at the record of the Jamaat for the past 2 years that we have not been holding Jasa Salana, people have not taken a lot of interest about it. To compound the whole problem, those who are the leadership, from the as it goes down, they continue to jettison this idea by way of thinking that their reasoning can be better than that of the markers or that of the headquarters. When it is statutory that each person should pay at least 10%, at a stage, you just discover that when it gets to circuit will make an input and it will distribute something far above what is expected according to budget to each of the Jamaat. If they need to raise any money anyhow, they could do it through some other means, not by affecting what has been known as statutory or what directive that has come from headquarters. These have been affecting our sincerities a lot because they know whatever comes from the headquarters, the circuit will still input, the Jamaat will still input their own addition into it. And these have made other members who really understand the stand of the Jamaat to be trying to be insincere about it. For instance, this year now, last year that we did not hold Jasa Salana, many people did not bother, even up to down. Officers from this level to the grassroots level, they even seem not to understand that they have not only to pay, they have to even ensure that everybody is living at the locality. People that are living at their locality.
Sorry, Alhaji, you need to summarize it. Definitely. How does that affect living the Jamaat? Because that's a financial issue and a lack of commitment, internal commitment. Yeah. So how does it lead to people leaving the Jamaat, lost bayats, or non-winning of bayats? Because that's our major. This is the topic here. What you are saying is valid, but it's a different, topic entirely, which is which has to do with faith in terms of complying with regulatory positions. And everybody here agree with you 100% in terms of we must comply. How does that lead to lost bias, if any? If not, then you can raise observation on that, and then we can defer this to another time.
All right, sir. So I was talking about sincerity and following the Nizami Jamaat. And these are little things that we seem to overrate, right, that make people to feel that whatever instruction comes from the headquarters, they can act in other way. Mm-hmm. So even the same thing like Minaret University, when it was decided that we should pay at least each of us should pay chanda something as we pay monthly. We have not exercised this thing to a level before some people start thinking of introducing some other measures. This in a way will affect the generality of the people because they will not trust in the decision of the Jamaat any longer. Assalamu alaikum to love.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khairan. Number 2.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My first question goes to the Amir side. I want to ask, ní Friday sermon tí a máa ń gbọ́ lẹ́nu aṣọ akátí màsín, àìkí gbọ́ àwọn report, wọ́n máa ń sọ àwọn report from other country, the janaza after their tí wọ́n máa ń ṣe lẹ́yìn ìgbà tí wọ́n bá ṣe tán, but àìkí gbọ́ látòlédè Nàìjíríà pé jẹnẹza Nàìjíríà látàgbà tó bá kírun tán wá ṣe jẹnẹza ẹni báyìí láti orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà. Ìyẹn ni question àwọn ọ̀gọ́dún mo fẹ́ rò pé bóyá tí káàmì bá wa dáhùn sí. Then ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì sà tí mo fẹ́ béèrè ni pé ó fẹ́ jọmọ́ question kan tí èèyàn kan béèrè. Tí ìyàwó èèyàn àbí àbọ́mọ èèyàn tó bá lóun ò ṣe ìjọ either Islam àbóhùn ṣe ìjọ Mùsùlùmí àmọ́ ṣé èèyàn lè decide lọ́kàn pé àwọn ọmọ yẹn ò nẹ́tọ̀ọ́ nínú ogún èèyàn? That's number 2 questions tí mo fẹ́ béèrè. Then number 3 sir, mo wò ó ní wòye pé lára àwọn kan tí National Tarbiyya tí wọ́n bá wa sọ nínú ọ̀rọ̀ wọn nípa ètò nìka àbáwọn ètò míì nínú ìjọ, a máa rí pé àwọn tí wọ́n jẹ́ àgbààgbà nínú ìjọ bóyá táwọn ọmọ bá fẹ́ ṣe nǹkan tí wọ́n bá ṣe àwọn kùdìẹ̀kùdìẹ̀ tó kù káàtó, ìjọ máa ń fojú overlook ẹ̀ bí àwọn ṣe nìka yẹn ò dẹ̀ wà proper according to the ètò tíjẹ́mọ̀ gbé kalẹ̀ tá a ti rí àwọn irú ẹ̀ ní àpẹẹrẹ lápẹẹrẹ. For instance, a lọ ṣe program kan ní jẹ̀nọ́sẹ̀ yẹn kan ní Ìbẹ̀jú Lẹ́kì níjọ́ on the 26th of this November. Nìka yẹn ní ìsinmi ẹ̀bọ̀ àwọn tó dé tó ń lọ sí nìka yẹn padà wá sọ fún wa pé nǹkan tí wọ́n ṣe ń bẹ̀ kò bú. Jẹ̀nọ́sà a lọ ṣe lọ́ọ̀lì 26 but èmi ò attend nìka yẹn but àwọn tó ń attend and some sorry jàre jẹ̀nọ́sà yẹn làwa lọ ṣe bọ́ ń gbàdá kúrò níbẹ̀ ká tó kúrò níbẹ̀ yẹn wọ́n lọ fún nìka ìkan níbẹ̀ nígbà tí wọ́n dé wọ́n wá fún wa ní àbọ̀ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ nǹkan tí wọ́n ṣe níbi nìka yẹn jẹ̀nọ́sà làwa lọ fún but nǹkan tí wọ́n ṣe níbẹ̀ lára ìgbà táwọn deliberate pé some of the missionaries tó wà ń bẹ̀ wọ́n ní ó kù díẹ̀ káàtó tó díẹ̀ pé àwọn èèyàn gbòkìgbòkì nínú ìjọ ni a fẹ́ káwò bí National Tarbiyya kí wọ́n bá wa look into that. Some of us tàbá wà ní circuit àbí ní jọmọ̀ pé a máa ń rí àwọn ru àwọn àkíyèsí báyìí. Then ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹrin sà nǹkan tí mo tún wò náà ni pé lára nǹkan tí National Tarbiyya officer tí wọ́n bá wa sọ tó yẹ pé ó jẹ́ ká máa lose some of the bias. Mo fẹ́ wò pé ó yẹ kí àwọn tó wà ní ètò àwọn missionary in charge kó wọ́n bá wo iṣẹ́ àwọn missionary like Ìbàdàn tèmi ti wá náà nìsín kí àwọn missionary yẹn kán má máa pẹ́ jù ní ibi tí wọ́n bá ti wà ọdún mẹ́wàá ogún ọdún 20 years ó ń affect some of our jẹ̀mọ́ area níbi táwọn missionary ti pẹ́ wọ́n ti darapọ̀ mọ́ onílé àtàlejò ó dẹ̀ ń affect iṣẹ́ most of iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n fún missionary nígbè kan wá ṣe nínú jẹ̀mọ́ yẹn mo fẹ́ kán bá wa wò pé tí wọ́n bá gbé missionary wá kán máa bá wa checkmate wọn tó bá dẹ̀ tásìkò tó yẹ kán gbé wọn kúrò kó má máa pẹ́ ju pé nígbà tó bá ti wá ń di arapọ̀ mọ́ onílé ọ̀tọ̀ ni iṣẹ́ tó ń ṣe wọn á fìlẹ̀ wọn máa ṣiṣẹ́ mi assalamu alaikum warahmatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khaira. Number one. No, totally. It's a general something.
Tell me to later. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alakoko, I will speak in English. Firstly, I want to thank Almighty Allah for bringing us all here safely. And I beseech him to return all of us home safely. And at the same time, I implore Allah to forgive us all our sins. Now, when we are talking of discipline in the Jamaat or Nisami Jamaat, first of all, we should understand it. Because what you are saying mostly is concerned the grassroots. So we must make them understand it. They don't understand it. That is one. I want to be brief. That is one. And that job is for those who are responsible for it. Secondly, when we give jobs to people or we appoint people, we should monitor them. It's not enough to make somebody a president or so and so something. Then you just leave him at that. You must monitor him or her. Oh, no, monitor him. Because if we don't do that, there can be no progress. I know what I'm talking about. Now, again, if we want to discipline people, we must first of all discipline ourselves. Discipline starts from oneself. That is one. I want to thank our Amir Sahib and all the officers of this Jamaat. My observation is this. You see, I don't know whether it is because of the jet age we are or computer age. When you send out information, you say it's on the system. How many people read the system? How many people? I think if you want to send out message, you must at times let it be in form of circular, so that it will go to all the Jamaat presidents, so that when they hold their meetings, they will read it, and everybody will hear it. You know, therefore, that information will be carried by everybody. It's essential. Again, somebody talked about discipline before me. I'm emphasizing it. I've been saying it. There is no more discipline in this Jamaat. Believe me, I'm saying it emphatically. There is no more discipline in this Jamaat. In those days, if anybody commits an offense and he hears that, hey, they are taking this matter to headquarters, that person will be shaking. He will be shaking. But nowadays, if you do anything, I'm going to report you to the headquarters. Take it there. What are they going to do for me? I've known of instances or cases, one or two, that were grievous offenses sent to the headquarters, and up to today, nothing was heard. Nothing was heard. It shouldn't be like that. If we say we just, because we want people in the Jamaat, then we don't take action against those who offend the laws of the Jamaat, then it means we don't know what we are doing. There must be discipline. Even in those days, they go as far as say, if somebody goes, don't greet that person for so months, or don't allot any job to him for so months. You know, I think this should be maintained, so that if that is done, then I think we will be better off. And at the same time, I'm imploring all of us here. We are all fathers. We should know what we are doing, in the sense that it is what we sow that we are going to reap. You know, so I won't say a word is sufficient for the West. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khairan jazak. So, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So, Jazakallah khairan jazak for all the 9 people that made comments. So I call on the facilitator to make his comments. Make your comments this morning.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I want to call attention to one very important thing. And that is, we are supposed to play the game according to the rules. This program, if you listen attentively, is only the Jamaat responsibility of only the Jamaat responsibility of Ansarullah. For most of the questions, observations raised are completely outside this topic. Completely outside this topic. Of course, there are challenges in the Jamaat, no doubt about that, we all know. And there are different forums for us to address all these challenges. So, in order to save times, next time, let us keep to the rules. I have looked at, apart from somebody talked about loss of bias, somebody talked about, the quotation of Misa, that how do you marry that with sanctions? Then somebody asked the question, that's that of my daughter. Yes, it is valid because it's part of the thing I talked about. 100 years ago, lots of barriers, all generations, and so yeah, the doctor talked about that one. What do you do about that? Moving forward, somebody talked about discipline, sincerity. What's purely just affairs that person talked about. And another person, this one is said about Jamaica, the part of other countries, during the months of service, the Friday sermons, number of janazas that are adopted and the passing those members, So if I just look at all these things, look, we said, only the Jamaat, the responsibility of Ansarullah. Of course, and Ansarullah, that's why I'm quite surprised is most of all these things. Because if you listen attentively, we said it, Ansarullah should be a living example, very good example for others to follow. So Ansarullah that others want to follow will be such that you will obedient to the rules and regulations of the Jamaat. Will be the person that will have self-discipline. And I remember by the time I closed this discussion, I said each and every one of us should go back, sit down, examine yourself. What role are you playing? Is it negative or positive in growing the Jamaat? Like I said, there are challenges in the Jamaat which naturally will be addressed. And we will not rule out challenges. We are not denying that fact. So for me, if I want to begin to talk about all these things, then we are not living here today. We are not living here today. I admit that there are challenges in the Jamaat. We are addressing them and we continue to address them. We are dealing with human beings. And just like I like to talk about, maybe some people don't know. He comes almost every weekend to come and settle disputes. Caused by Ansarullah. So, maybe we just give one or two words to address all these things. As regards my daughter, that you said I did not tell you what really happened. No, that my daughter does not live in Nigeria. She's resident in UK. She's been in UK for many years. I've made him to meet His Holiness twice. We've attended London Jasa together. You understand? So it's not that, we've not taken steps. I've had discussion with His Holiness, I've had discussion with Famisa, even together with my daughter. But, it's one of those challenges that human being will face. That's my own challenge. So, and of course, there's one conviction I have, which Ami also has, about her, that she's coming back. So I have that conviction, and all I need to do is, I cannot force her. At that age, it is God that will change her.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay. All right, Jazakallah khairan jaza. We have just a few minutes in fact, we have exceeded the time, I think by about 10 minutes. So we will just round up by a quarter after now. All your questions or comments are noted. For the lost bayat, interacting with community which is poor should be improved upon. That will be the answer to that. Children should be made to see the value of faith so that they can remain within the Jamaat. We should avoid the comedy house. The second question on relationship between sanction and then dragging people closer. There must be discipline. Sanction is at the bedrock of discipline. So if there is no sanction, then there will be no discipline. And decent people are not afraid. They are only worried, about sanction. They don't run away because you sanction them, no. It's indecent people that want to run away. That what do I do with your sanction? So we need to know that sanction was practiced in the days of the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the time of the promised Messiah, and it should be across. It shouldn't be you punish some people, you don't punish some people. No, the sanction should be across. In terms of our daughter that is still struggling with understanding, most of us pass through that stage. Only Allah knows what she's going to see for her to sign the bayat. Otherwise, if she signs without serious conviction, probably she's going to be very light. But when people who are very strong in faith signs the bayat, they will be like Umar among the large. Now, nobody's going to send her anything. There's nothing you can do. So this is a period of our own research. You know, so there is a point at which people actually turn around. Thanks to Uncle for the notes he had jotted down. And Dr. Taufik Sani really mentioned something very, very fundamental. The Tajnid of the Jamaat, those who have signed the bayat in Nigeria, we are over 1 million. We are over 1 million, and the record which is in the missionary in charge office. But those of us who are now on the AMJS, we are about 65,000. So when we talk about lost bayats, it's more than 10 times those of us who are within the Jamaat. So somebody mentioned Adeniji Adele, those ones, Abdul Razak, you know, very big, eminent people. They've been here, they've been within the Jamaat. So the idea is to analyze what caused it, and then how can we reverse it. He also mentioned how do we stop it. That's when we can grow the number of the Jamaat. Because it's not about going for Tabligh alone now. You are going for the Tabligh, they are coming in, but they are also going out. So that is not quite helpful. So retention of people within the Jamaat is another thing we need to discuss and make sure we all agree on the step to do that. Somebody talk about the way out, which is discipline. There is actually sanction within the Jamaat, but it is expected that each of us, we have self-discipline. We understand the 3 levels of faith, the physical, the moral, and then the spiritual growth. We are supposed to cross even the moral level to the spiritual life. So if somebody is not living spiritual life, then he needs to work more on that. The issue of JASA is not actually part of this discussion, but it's noted. And then somebody talk about, you know, all these 5 points are actually not part of this. But on the janaza, you write uzur, and it's the prerogative of uzur to choose without force. We wrote about the former Sadar, Alaji Aina. So it has not been announced, and anytime uzur chooses, then he may announce. If he doesn't announce, it doesn't change, it doesn't affect our faith at all. The former Naib Amir Onabanjo Talim Tarbiya was also written, and then reminder was also sent, but yet it has not been announced. It's just for information. If it pleases His Holiness to announce, fine. If he hasn't announced, it doesn't affect you know, our faith for that. If a child is not an Ahmadi, whether he can share among something, it depends on your will, what you will for each and every one. So that's what is going to be their own. If the person dies intestate, it depends again on agreement. If you have said, don't share him, and he agrees. But if the person said, no, it's my right, and he goes to court, he will claim it. So if there is, especially if there is nothing in writing. So that's another subject matter. But the thing is, if you have said it, don't share in because you are not of my faith, no problem. We have seen a situation where somebody who is not an Ahmadi, you know, will say about the property of our daddy who was an Ahmadi, this is what we will do. And that's what she's going to do. So it's difficult under the Nigerian law and constitution to stop a child from sharing the legacy of his inheritance. But if
she has a faith and said, no, I don't belong to my dad's faith. So let him carry everything belonging to him. So if you said it verbally and she agrees, so be it. Somebody talk about improper nikai and all the rest. We should be very assertive on correcting things. But we should also correct things that needs to be corrected. Some of us, when we want to do nikai, I was just smiling very recently. When people will come that we will do this, I will say no. When I did my own, I didn't do it. So how come I will be doing, for my daughter, and you come here to my environment and tell me what you will do? That will not work now. So anything you see you want to do, you do, which is in line with the practice of the Jama. End of story. And anybody who is not happy, you tell them to stay away, isn't it? It's as simple as ABC. And unless there is error within what your people are doing, normally. Otherwise, you tell them. I told some people straight away on phone that please, don't come there if you not comply with my own rules, with utmost respect. It's not because I am the Amir. I've done the Kai at least about 2 or 3 times. And I do tell people, if you not comply with what I understand to be what God and his prophet wants, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I don't want what you want. It's very simple. So, but without force and with respect, I think that is the way we should do it. We shouldn't fight, with people. And whatever is not faridu, again, we should not make to be faridu. Where God is flexible, mustahab, then you can allow something. Like there are certain things they do bring, yam, yam and this and that, and if they said they want to bring yam, I was joking. I said, we don't take yam, we don't take anything. However, if you say you want to package something as a gift, and you want to give it as a husband, it's up to you. But for me, it's not mandatory. All that is mandatory or necessary is the dowry to the lady and not to any other person in this house. And that was very clear. So as a matter of joke, some people said, oh, so will you not bring anything from them? I said, don't let anybody intimidate you. I am the one to collect anything if I will collect. And I am not collecting. So what's the problem of anyone? So we should make it very simple. So by way of joke, they can say, okay, so if you bring, can you allow us to share it? Young man, if it is convenient for you. But if it is not, nobody should intimidate you. It's very simple. They can be only more say hallelujah, but not loju. Incidentally, our youth of nowadays are not like some of us who are very stubborn. There is an option of whether you give me the lady or you take your lady away, or you give me under the condition that I understand. And all those things that are un-Islamic should not come in there. Some of them will say go and bring 4 shinaps or something, and our member will be pushing them to the family which which Alaji MMC2 is battling with. So we have to be assertive on our faith. But something that is diplomatic, something that is not faridu, so we can be a bit, flexible about that. The missionary not staying long in the location is a complex issue, because you need to look at the school of the children as well. How do you handle it? You keep on moving them. There is a recent issues that are coming up. So, but the Uzuri's instruction last year or year before was that we rotate people not more than 4 years. Anybody? So we move everybody. So we move everybody that they can't stay more than 4 years. Or whoever has stayed for up to 4 years, rotate them. So we did that, but there are challenges of, where you have your children. One is in JSS 1, another one SS2, another one in primary 6, another one is nursery school. So, how do you mobilize the whole of them there? So it's an issue we need to sit down. I have told the missionary in charge to let us sit down and see how this thing, we will comply with the instruction of moving the missionaries, but again be after the welfare of their wives and their children. Some of the wives are doing some, some little things around, which also is difficult to mobilize. So we are very conscious of that, but we will look at it from a human face. And all the advice that are given by all other people, and our Alaji Bello also gave a number of advice that has been noted in terms of discipline. There is actually discipline now Because when people are, maybe not as radical as during the time of Movia Agbola, because at that time it could be very radical, but now, if anybody commits any offense, what we do is to write the miracles. I have written that some people should be excommunicated from the Jamaat. And Uzur responded to say no. Relax. Call them and then train them. Because Uzur know that a lot of us have no discipline, no knowledge. We don't even know what we are doing. Those who act with certainty are those who know what they are doing. Those who know what they are doing are those who act with certainty. Uzur knows that a lot of people don't know what they are doing. They don't know what they are doing. They've not read the Quran, they may read a little bit, but the culture is already in them. So Uzur will look at it that if you punish them, it doesn't make any meaning to them. It's just like you are punishing them. They do not see that you are reforming them. That is my reading of Uzur's letter. And Uzur said, call him, sit him down, and then educate him. So that's what they said. Not that we on our own don't want to punish such a person. Before, and I remember, I used to be an interpreter to Movi Agbola, because he's a Movi, Mubalig, and he will punish the person right here. He will punish the person, right here, he will take his own action. So, but as life goes on, there are development there. Because I know for sure, anything you do now, people will write murkas. Somebody who divorced his wife, who wrote a letter to say, I don't want my wife again. You send it to Islahi committee. Islahi committee, to reach Sanata, they look at it, they separate them. Islahi step in, discuss, they separate them in writing. After some months, the woman married another person. Then he writes a letter, send it to Uzur. The headquarters has collected my wife. And they have given that wife to another person who is very close to the office of the top office in Nigeria. He was saying like office of Amir. Maybe these people who married the person is close to me. So we need to be now a bit careful. So it happened during the former Emirat. And the former Amir, he attached a copy of the letter the person wrote and the letter, the minutes of the meeting. So things have changed a little bit. Left for me, I would have wanted to do things the same way. But now, people will just escalate unnecessary. But when you show them, see, this is what you have written. Now they are calling. So when they call, I will say, you wrote. So what do you want us to do? We have to separate you. And nobody actually, the people will also allege that the committee, they are biased. Maybe they want to take my wife. That is why, they are very hard on issues. My issue is very simple. And he's the troublemaker. He's the troublemaker. So things are a bit, getting, if you sanction him now, he will say it's because the other party is close to you. That's why you send them to the committee. And I do tell them the Islahi committee comprises of all the auxiliary organizations in Nigeria. So why would they be biased against you? That is one of the strengths of argument now to bring anybody down when they are arguing. The Secretary Tarbiyah National is the chairman. Missionary in charge, who is the head of all the missionaries, is a member. Our own Sadar Sahib, who is our own head, all of us, is a member. Sadar Majlis Udam is a member. Sadar Lajna is a member. So if all those people can sit down and then the person that tied the two of you together, Rich Tanata, is also a member. If you then allege that they are biased, so who will be free? So it is, when people say, oh, there is no discipline now, maybe they are not aware of what is going on behind the scene. A lot of things. And anybody who does something will be sanctioned. It's just that we don't announce bad things. And that is what missionaries have been saying. You are saying you are bringing people close, but you are sanctioning them. So how do they come close? Well, if we need to sanction, we have to sanction because there must be discipline. And that is where I will end this. So because we need to go for prayers now, about 3 minutes there. That happens also as my closing remarks. May Almighty Allah bless each and every one of us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please join me in silent prayers. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Amen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.